Call the select board meeting of November 7th to order with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is public comment.
I have a question. The house has been torn down on Monument Road, and they did a wonderful job. There's a pile of wood that is standing out there, and I have somebody that is very interesting, that lives on my road, that is willing to clean it up and get rid of it. I just want to know what the select board would do.
I will need to check with Gilmet and make sure that that isn't part of what he was going to do,
Okay?
and I can do that, and then,
Well, when I talked to James Geeman
Yep, that's who-
about a week or so ago, I asked him about the wood pile. I don't want it, but I know somebody else that is willing to go over and clean it out and get rid of it. James said that the wood pile was gonna stay there. That's what he told me about a week and a half ago.
he told you it was going to stay?
Correctly, but you can double check with him. to
No,
make
I
sure.
will.
Cause I stop, you know me, I stop and check.
He told me today he's out of town for a few days, but I have his wife's email.
What's that?
He said he was gonna be out of town, he called us today because he
Oh,
would
okay.
like, there's a second, his final payment, second and final payment is in the warrants, but we're gonna hold it until I do the final site inspection.
Okay.
And there's a few things on that bid that he had to do, but I don't remember about the wood. But he
Yeah.
said he was gonna be gone next week, this coming week.
And he'll be back at that point.
Absolutely, but, I mean, he said he's reachable, so I can reach her and she'll track him down.
Okay.
I think he's on a hunting trip with access to Wi-Fi occasionally.
Okay. So you can just let me know.
I will.
And this person's willing to clean it out, and it would look really good if I got cleaned out.
Was it the original owner's wood?
Yes.
He had already cut it out, but he was
Yes.
preparing for it.
Yes, and it's been there, and it's just.
I know there's strict requirements on how the stuff is removed because of the,
Right, but you can just get back with me, I'm just
Yep.
asking, because this person asked me, and they were gonna call the Highgate, and I said, don't do that, I'm at the select board tomorrow night, I will ask the question
Okay.
and find
I will
out.
do my best to get that answer for you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
I just had a couple other things, was the Christmas parade and the, if they were going to do the blue bus again this year, because that's a couple people that has asked me, and I didn't know what the schedule was.
I'm not sure either. I know that is on the agenda a little bit down the road,
Okay,
so
I
we'll
will
talk
ask
about
them.
it at that
I
point.
just had a couple people ask. me.
Okay. Yeah, I heard it was very popular last year.
Yes, it was. Okay.
I have a couple things, but I'm not sure if you wanna wait for them. I've got questions about village core and
Yeah,
also
we can
park
talk about
decorations.
that on the agenda on the backside.
Okay.
And that is the park decoration,
That's also part of
right?
the holiday light
I
parade.
see that on there, but is that, last year the library was asked to put up like that Noel sign and the stars in this park, is that part of that park decoration
Correct.
line item?
That, yeah, we'll talk
Okay.
about it at that, yeah. Public Works update.
The single axle was towed off the interstate and brought to TDI on Monday. They are working on putting it back together. They found some wiring issues.
Okay.
Plows and wings are on. Sand is up, and we're waiting for winter on that aspect of things. This past week, we changed 3 bad culverts in the shipyard in preparation for next year's pavement. We need to put pavement back on them this coming week, let them settle a little bit. And then we're back on our 8-hour shift.
Okay. And we do have a bid. One bid came in. I'm gonna have Ben open it and read the bid, excuse me. And we'll go from there.
Let's see.
And this is for spring paving, correct?
Okay, we've got Pike Industries. You want me to read everything in here?
Yeah, basically it's Pike Industries and then the layers and that kind of stuff. It should be like an RFP on it,
Let's see.
and the amount.
Machine
we only
Paved
have one.
Monument Road,
Mm-hmm.
1,095 ton, unit price at 89.94. Machine Paved Jedware, 1,250 a ton. Plus Big Apron, shim overlay, Machine Paved Decker, shim overlay. Let's see here. Machine Paved Shipyard, 22 by 1,400, 390 a ton. Machine Paved Shipyard Extension and Old Dock Road. Total bid price is $336,825.30.
And Nick, do you have any questions about the RFP or something else that you'd like him to make sure it's on there?
As long as it's got all the same locations as the RFP, it just sounded like it did.
Do you wanna come and review just to make sure, please? I think it did too, but.
What were the roads again? I got Monument, Redwood, Decker, Shipyard, Old Dock.
So you got Monument Road, Jedware, and Tanglewood,
Okay.
Decker, Shipyard, and Old Dock. You've got Shipyard and Shipyard Extension only because Shipyard is broken into two segments because of the private portion in the middle. Yeah, I think we're all.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept for $236,825.30?
I'll make that motion.
Richard made the motion,
Second?
seconded by Ben. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I don't need to sign that too, right? And then town treasurer.
Mary, you've got the check warrant in front of you.
Has everyone seen the check warrant?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have a motion to accept.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Richard made the motion to accept, seconded by Ben. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? Motion carried.
While you're signing that, a couple quick updates. Taxes came in very well this year. I just went through with Wendy, because I couldn't get them all online myself, but this was the third highest collection year since I've been here,
Nice.
aside from 2016 and 2020. We ended the day on October 31st with a principal balance of $177,802.69 delinquent. We are usually right around that 200,000 mark. So once I give you with the penalties and interest, and after people have come in since the 31st, our delinquent total as of right now is $203,280.39. And I know a few of these are gonna come off just from either being abatement or an escrow error or such. So I was pleased with the amount of people that paid on time, and everyone was very pleasantly surprised with as low of an increase as we had. So
Great.
it was a good year.
Appreciate all your efforts.
Really busy. That is all I have for taxes. The other thing that's in front of you, Mary, is a contract for Repro. Repro Graphics is who prints our town report. They have stressed the amount that paper keeps increasing each year, the cost of paper. So a new option for us is a 3-year option this year on that, and that is what I would go with, or I would ask for you to make a motion and go with, just to keep the cost down, and we know what to budget for the next 3 years.
It locks it in, correct.
We're very pleased with their services. They always do a fantastic job for us, so, and we paid last year $2.87 for each copy, and that was a 2-year contract. And I don't know what the
It's $319 if we do the 3-year contract as you suggested, so the total for 500 copies is $1,595. Do I have a motion to accept?
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that is all I have for you today.
Okay, thank you. Town clerk?
Okay. You have meeting minutes from the last regular meeting, which was held on October 17th. And those are in front of you, Mary.
I have them, correct. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second by Ben. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, so we made it through Tuesday. I got some stats here somewhere, bear with me. Election hangover is what we have. So our checklist on election day rose to 2,518. We had, I don't even know how many, probably close to 30, 40 same day voter registrations, so it was very busy. We had 1,782 ballots cast in this election. 1,045 of them were absentee and 737 in person at the polls. We are all, I would imagine, very familiar with the results, both state and federally. It's kind of been bashing us over the head the last couple of days. If anybody had any question about individual races, I'm happy to go over all of that. The results for Highgate are posted on our website and on our social media pages. But locally, we did have the article about the 28 Mill Hill Road purchase, which did pass with 950 yes votes to 693 no votes. So I did notify Ed Adrian, our town attorney, that we did have a yes vote, and because he's been communicating with the bank's attorney. So I don't know what happens next and how we keep this train moving forward, but we did get a yes vote, which is very exciting.
Thank you.
We elected 6 JPs: Claude Chevalier, Donna Chevalier, John Furland, Bruce Gagne, Dennis Nolan, and Patty Rainville. Donna is new, and I wanted to thank Ann Harper and Connie Bior for their service. They both decided not to run again, so we'll miss them. They did a lot of good work for us. What else? Most people were very pleasant at the polls. We had maybe 2 not so pleasant individuals, but we moved them on through. Not how I would have put it. In the grand scheme of things, it was a very small percentage. Most people were very pleasant, and I was more than happy with that. Everything was very smooth. Results were reported. The arena lobby was left pretty darn spotless, and we were home by 8:30. So that's a good thing. So now we have a break before we start diving into town meeting. So thank you to everyone that voted early, brought your ballots to the polls. That was about a 50-50 split, people that showed up with them, without them, but nobody hassled me about signing an affidavit, which was great. So that pretty much sums up the election, unless anybody has any questions for me.
How many registered voters are there in the town, maybe?
We started the day at 2470 or 80, and we ended at 2518.
Wow, you had a lot of people sign up.
Yes, but we also had people getting pulled from our checklist to other towns that were registering in other towns, so it kind of went both ways. But our checklist did rise that particular day. The only other thing I have is just some events around town. A lot of them are centered around the library, the craft show. Highgate Library Community Center's annual craft show is next weekend, November 16th, 9 to 3 at the school, free admission. The place is packed. It's an awesome craft show. You should stop by. Maybe you know a little bit more about this event, Rebecca, but the community conversation that's happening on the 12th, what is that exactly?
The library received a grant quite a while ago. It was when we were working with our previous director, and that grant is for accessibility. And I think that when a lot of people think of accessibility, they
You think physical?
think of physical accessibility. Do we have a ramp? Are the doors wide enough? Those kind of things. But this grant would cover those things, but also large print books, how the lighting may affect somebody with some that's, differently able. So part of the grant requirement is holding this open meeting to the community, to ask people to come into the space at the library and to see what there are from the community, suggestions of things that we could change within the building to make it better suited to the community.
Thank you.
And that is November 12th from 5 to 6 at the library.
Correct.
Okay. And then the library did have some hours changed, and I think that was just effective this week.
Started Monday.
Yep. So this is their new hours, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 10 to 6. Thursday, 10 to 6 too, okay.
Yeah,
Friday closed. Saturday, 10 to 2, Sunday closed.
we've been working under condensed hours when we were searching for a director, and then as the director came on board, she's done a lot in the library with the facilities and continued to work under those reduced hours. She was at the library more than the library was open, but it gave her time to work within the facility and not need to be leaving what she was doing to deal with patrons. And these are hours that she had suggested. Our previous full-time hours, on Thursdays we were only open in the afternoon from 2 to 6, and on Saturdays it was from 9 to noon. She decided to make the hours during the week all the same so that it's not confusing. So that's what Wendy had said, and then we expanded a little bit into the afternoon on Saturday.
And the only other upcoming event that I have is the cemetery mowing bids. Those are due November 14th by 4 p.m. So that's also posted on our website and social media, as well as a list of all of our town cemeteries, where they're located and what the expectation is. So if anyone is interested in that, bids go another week. And I think that is it for me.
Okay, I do need to back up. I did forget to ask for a motion to authorize the town administrator to sign the paving contract.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? No. All those in favor?
Okay.
Thank you. And now we're up to Carrie.
Perfect, thank you. So the first item, just to let people know, you see these notices, but the border crossing on 89 is getting upgraded substantially. I went to a meeting at the end of October, where they said next year they're gonna start phasing in this project where they ultimately will demo every building on their 26-acre parcel there, because the three agencies, the federal agencies that are using it, don't have enough space and it's non-functional or something is what they said. So the ag department, border patrol, and somebody else, I flew out of my head, but so starting next year, they're gonna demo a few buildings at a time. They're gonna keep the crossing open, they promise, and then be done the project in 3 years after that. So it's gonna be long. I don't know, for those of us that live up here, we often cross the border a lot, so I'd check conditions, because they said it will remain open, but could have substantial delays if certain buildings are closed, so. And so that they didn't have any other comments, no one else really showed up, but there's a map in the back with a QR code if somebody's curious about it. You can also Google it, like I asked them, the one question I had was, do you know when A35 is gonna open? And I got the most bureaucratic answer I ever heard. They're like, well, that's a Canadian project and we don't know when they're gonna be done. And I'm like, but your project they said was spurred by the fact that A35 is gonna open and they expect a 30% increase in the crossings at that point. So they said they would ask. Online, Vern and I talked about it, it says it's gonna be open in 2025. So, anyway, so a lot of information, if somebody's curious, maybe it's a snowy, cold day in January and you're bored, but there's gonna be a lot going on there. The second item, I think, based on the fact that we have 3 of you instead of 5, we might not talk at length about today, but you have in your packets the town administrator, the permanent town administrator search. What I did find out from VLCT is that while they used to do searches, they don't have the staff to do it anymore. So that's why in your packets you have a little handout that basically gives you, I think it was 5 or 6 firms that do these executive management searches, I guess is what they call them. So you probably see this again at your next meeting. I think that the only decision really is, obviously you need to, I think it's not obvious, you can choose to do it yourselves, or you can choose to have this extra firm help you. I think their reach would be a little wider and more comprehensive than just, I don't know that other than Indeed and a few 7 days things, it's hard to know where to reach out to people. And this is a pretty important position, so I would recommend you seriously consider hiring a firm. But first we have to put it out to bid, so. And there's tiers of services there. I don't know that you need to add any, it's almost like an a la carte menu. They have the basic search, and then they have some other services you can add. That we'll probably discuss at the next meeting.
I would have really liked to have the full board for that.
Yeah, and Vern said he was sorry he couldn't make it, but also wanted to be part of that discussion, so, I think we'll table it and it'll be back on your agenda.
Thank you.
Has that job been posted anywhere?
No, I haven't.
No, we're in that process of how we're gonna do it.
Motion to table
Oh, yes. So Richard's making a motion to
that.
table.
Yeah.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor? Yeah.
Alright.
But if there's anybody you know that's interested, they could send a letter of interest and a resume. There's no such thing as too early. But the ad is gonna be very similar to, and I can send it to you, the one that was posted last year. We just made one edit so far. I just would like to have, if somebody, as soon as we publish it, I think there could be a few people that ask about it, and I'd like to have a plan.
I guess I'm just confused, like, if you have the ad, I understand, maybe wanting to hire a firm and really have a broad search to find the right candidate, but why not post it on the website or somewhere?
I'm sure we will.
Maybe there's a great local person, maybe there's not, but it doesn't cost anything.
I'm
to
sure
do
we
that.
will, but we wanted to be a group as a whole to do it.
Sometimes those firms have suggestions on how to word your ad as well that I'm not really privy to, so that's kind of what I was thinking. It's a good question, practically, like what's gonna change. They might change it, they might not though, so we can talk about it. But one way or the other, at the next meeting, we'll move forward on starting that process. The last thing was put on here, Village Court. I mean, it's under me at this point because when I did this, I wasn't sure whether it should be under Select Board or myself. Richard went to a meeting at the end of October, which was great. The Village Court Committee has been striving, this is one of the big goals, I think, was to get the official neighborhood development designation from the state. There's a copy of that official letter we just got, the 2nd of November, so it's pretty fresh, that the town has got that designation. So I thought it'd be a great time to celebrate what the Village Core people group has done. That on top of the fact that one of my top projects is wastewater, that big wastewater project in the village center. So I think it's great to just say what have you done so far, and this is where we're at, a lot of good progress. And the other thing is, as I said, I sent an email to the committee. I just got here, I've been here for maybe 2 weeks now, officially 3. And there was a meeting scheduled for this month, and I had asked to hit the pause button and wait a little while to meet, because I was under the impression that I wasn't sure if I was supposed to be staffing that committee and what the committee needed that was an emergency for November, so I thought it was safe to perhaps hit the pause button and figure it out. So that's what I did this month. But if there's concerns, we should talk about it.
Carrie, what was it you mentioned to me about being approved for this development? Something about the pool for grants was,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
The other advantage to getting that, so, because I was asked by a select board member, what does this mean? What's the downtown it used to be called the downtown designation and village center designation, but now it's called the state board, CIB, Community
Yeah.
Investment Board or something like that. That's their new name. What it means is your community now has special access to more grants. And not every community in the state has, a lot of them have them, but it gives you another avenue to look for money to help further develop the downtown area. I mean, your neighborhood area, you don't call it downtown area.
And from what I understand when we're discussing it, there's not as much competition because now we're in a select group able to get these grants. So it improves our ability to be able to get grants. It puts us on a,
Does it puts us in a smaller pool, but is the competition
less.
more so in that group? I mean, I assume that if other people in that group have also gone through this process, then they are also, motivated and, really moving forward. So is it a smaller group, but maybe?
It seems a little less competitive,
Yeah.
but I will say at the same time, like coming from the outside, I mean, you have a $4 million grant to do that wastewater. That's a huge grant. Like, that's significant. So I don't know if these grants work like the V-Trans grants, but when you get a paving grant, you're not getting one every year. You get one every few years, and you get the structures grant every few years. Highgate's punching above their weight limit right here, and it's great, but you have some substantial grants for that area.
And we've got substantial past groundwork already done, which some of these grant committees look at and say, well, they've got this much done,
Right.
we're gonna help them. If you have nothing done, well, they'll have to put out a larger grant or more broader grant. So to me, it just improves everything as far
That's
as
the way I
being
understood
able to
it as
get.
well.
Yeah, it's like having, it's the backroom stuff that makes your grant application stronger, honestly, because you have a master plan and you have now this plan and everything just lines up. So when maybe when the Cathedral Square thing is under construction, you can say, well, we need sidewalks, and this is why we need sidewalks. That supports the
Well,
sidewalk.
that's another good point. We've got
Yeah.
a commitment at this point that Cathedral Square is very, very serious. We gotta get our wastewater in.
Correct.
So they see this, I believe this committee sees this, well, we help them get the wastewater, then they get their elderly housing project, and it's a win-win. They like to see this type of development. I think it's a positive, very positive direction.
I agree, and I appreciate all the work the committee has done.
I was a little skittish about going to this thing. I'm not a person who likes to be grilled about certain things, but anyway, it worked out well.
Do you have anything you want to add? That's all I have for tonight. I don't know if anybody has
So
questions.
Rebecca, did you have stuff to talk about at this?
A whole bunch of stuff.
Okay.
I am curious, I came onto the village core committee 2017, 2018, somewhere in there, after the committee had already been established when I came on board. And I am curious from the select board a little bit of the backstory. I'm still assuming that that committee was created as an ask of the select board. So I guess I'm wondering if I'm assuming correctly. And I am also wondering what the original expectations were of that board when it was created, and if those are still the same now.
That was also before my time, and Ben's time, I know. Richard, do you remember?
Yeah, it was organized to find a purpose for that corner, to come up with some suggestions, bring it back to the board, and I think the first one that chaired it was Steve Lafar,
Yes. I
and
was on the board.
yep.
I've been on the board since it started.
And it's just gone. I think it just kept growing, you know, and then
How many members were on when it started, do you remember?
I think there was probably six or seven.
6 or 7.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dave Roddy was on it, and he's
Yeah.
passed away. Steve was on it, and he's off. I was on it,
Evangeline.
Pardon?
Eventually
Yeah,
it was on.
eventually.
He was on it,
was on it.
which he's off now.
Marie LaRush has always been
Yeah.
on
Marie's
it.
still on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I thought when we started out, it was more of a push from the town administrator than it was you guys.
I think we asked her to
Okay, yes,
step in and with it, and then
and the town administrator administered
yes,
the committee.
yes.
Okay.
And then they did certain things, like they had a summer day there and brought back the old, what that place was, and
We did it, and that went very well.
yeah.
Is that still, is the board, have they been fulfilling those needs, and do you see those being the same as we move forward?
I myself, from what I've seen, I think it's gotten bigger.
You mean like more members, or it's taken on
Well, more members, but I think you've taken on more things, you know, like part of Cathedral Square, the wastewater, you know, I think it's grown, and I know certain things have come up, like I know sidewalks and all that have been part of it now, and you know, I think you've done a lot, you know, and you know, I just think we just gotta investigate where we wanna go with it, I think. That's my feeling,
So
I don't know.
From what I discussed with Vern, and we were gonna discuss tonight in the meeting, we are looking at all the boards in the town and to try to get them to be more uniform and decide who's reporting to the town administrator, who's reporting directly to us. So us as a board want to get together and do that with all our committees and our meetings before we can answer that question logically.
In my understanding, our board, the core board, would give our suggestions and our ideas to the town administrator, then the town administrator would address it to the select board for approvals
That's
or
also
just-
been my
or
understanding.
disapprovals. But then I believe it was a disconnect.
And that may
it's
still
been,
be the way, but we want to look at all the boards and decide as a group how we wanna allow them all to function or allow them to work smoother so it's not all on one or not all on us. So we wanna prioritize and look at the whole picture before we answer that question.
Because ultimately, all the advice we give to this board takes it in and the town has to address it and vote on it. They're the final.
Right.
I think you got a little disconnect between is it a board or a committee
Yeah.
and what the structure is gonna be. Because the committee, you can have 30 people on it if you want, but if you're gonna have a board, it can be, you know, you're gonna have an appointment of some sort. but-
Right, and
And
that's
who
what
are
we're
you
looking
appointing it? But is it select board appointing it? I mean, are they, yeah, the select board would be appointing it. And they would have a scope of
Missions.
mission.
We need a mission statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it first started, Ty, Steve was bringing a lot of it himself. He was the chair, he was bringing a lot of it to us. More, then all of a sudden, it started falling more to the town administrator.
Correct.
I do think that, and I have told Vern this, that with all that board has been doing with the wastewater and Cathedral Square and everything else, a lot of that has gone on to the town administrator. And I think, in my opinion, that is the right place for it. Or, I mean, I'm not even sure that the select board is the right place for that. There's been too much work and too much money at stake for that to reasonably fall to a volunteer board, in my opinion. I think that we should be there to, bounce those ideas around and give input, but I think that there's too much at stake there to not have the town administrator involved.
And again, we're not saying they're not going to be.
No, I'm not suggesting that I'm just being clear that that's my opinion.
And that's the way I understood it. We were an ad hoc committee. In other words, committee to come up with ideas, suggestions, give it to the town administrator, they present it to the select board. We didn't have the power to do zippity.
Right. And I think that that's been a clear understanding of everybody on the board at all times. Other questions that I had about the board, village core related, was, are there any deadlines that are coming up on that? I know that the November and December meetings were both canceled. October was canceled because that was right after Sharon had left.
The day of.
So, I mean, it'll end up potentially being that we don't have a meeting at all in the last quarter of the year. And I wasn't sure if there were, I don't know if you've had time to get to this in the last 2 or 3 weeks, but are there grant deadlines that are coming up? I know that, was it with the ARPA funds that needed to be designated by the end of the year?
We have that list, we're working on that.
Okay, so
But in
that's,
Carrie's defense, she has the major thing that makes this whole thing come together is that wastewater project. So that's where her main focus has to be right now.
no, that's what I'm talking about.
So that's what
Yeah,
she's on.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
don't, like grant deadlines, are you talking about reporting deadlines or applications for new projects?
No, not for new applications,
Okay.
but for the ARPA grant that we have already received. I thought that I remembered that we needed to designate where those funds
The
will be
select board
spent.
does need to designate all of the ARPA money by the end of this year.
Yes, and by we, I didn't mean the village core board, I
Yeah.
meant the
No, I know
town.
what you meant.
And then it needs to be spent by the end of 2026.
Correct.
Yes.
So that's,
So
That's part of the
yeah.
process.
And that is something that I've talked to Shelley about, and the select board. You just created a fresh,
Yep.
funding stack, let's call it, what the state calls it, it makes sense, right? Shows where the town has already spent ARPA, what you have left, and what it needs to be for that. I also have been working on just updating the grant portals, cause that's how we communicate with them, so, at least 2 of them, which will be coming up and under other business, I'm gonna ask the select board to designate myself, as the authorizing official, because they're getting really nerved up, that the current name's correct, so.
okay.
Yep.
2 more things that I have there. One that I feel is important, not pressing at this point, is in September. I think you were at the meeting, Richard, when we walked over to the Meiji property site.
Yeah.
And we had used a tape measure to measure out what we had thought was the Cathedral Square
Yeah.
footprint. And from what we measured and understood, it didn't look like that Cathedral Square building was going to fit on the back of that lot as planned, with the library also back there. And I think that that should be addressed with GBA at some point in the
We've already
near
started
future, and
talking.
I know that it's not an emergency. And then related to that, the library discussed at our meeting on Monday, it had come up, should we look at that Pause for Thought building as an option? and that is not something that we are interested in right now, that we have put 7 years of work right now and time and money into exploring options for that village court property, and, you know, really mapping out what would be the right library facility for us there. Had town meetings, the charrettes, to see what the town wants to do there, and we don't feel that that space at the Cause for Thought building would be prime. I think that if we were in a different position and there was no other option available, then we could look into that more, but at this point, that is not our number one option. And then lastly, on that lot, the pole barn is scheduled to be removed soon. Like, I thought that was supposed to happen in mid-October.
It was. Yeah, I looked into it, I got a hold of Nick, we looked, then Carrie got a hold of me, and we gotta go through permitting and through zoning, and that kind of stuff.
To take it down?
How long?
No, to put it back up over where we wanna put it. So I talked to, it was supposed to be on here, but I guess it wasn't. What I suggested, I talked to Vern the other day, and what I suggested was take it down, cover it up, and take it over, cover it up, and so when we get our permits and stuff for next spring, put it up then, and but go ahead and take it down and put it over there and worry about it in the spring once we have our permits and everything. And
Any timeline on that? I asked because like half village board interest and half the library did do that Noel stuff in the park last year.
yeah,
And I put all of that into that pole building when I took it down.
yeah.
So how long do I have to get it down?
I know it's something that what I wanna know is how long when do we have to have that down? I guess that was my concern, and then I know when I talked to Carrie, she wasn't sure on that yet.
Yeah.
And, but that's something that we're looking into, and then I will let you know if what's in there. I think Ty's got some stuff in there too, or.
I don't have nothing in there.
No,
The rec department.
right, okay, well, my fault, I call you the right department, so.
Yeah, I think there's a set of nets in there from the rec department. My comment on that, Richard, is you're gonna be lucky to be able to get the building back up, tearing it down and putting it up at the same time. If it sits all spring, bring it to, all winter, bring it to Casella's, because you'll have erected again. If there's not a hard deadline to have to take it down before it can be, the permits can be done,
Right.
leave it standing where it is until you get the permits.
Yeah, I agree with
I agree.
Ty.
I agree.
I think that was our working option, because what we realized when we were working through this project is, we're gonna put the pole barn up at the transfer station, but we need to give ourselves a permit. And once we realize where you want to put it over there, there's monitoring wells over there, so some areas are sensitive, and we need to go through that division of the state to get permission to put the pole barn over there.
It's gonna be a year, 2 years.
I don't think it'll take more than a year, but it's not gonna be done in the next month, so,
Right.
and then winter could be here, which means, you can't really do it well,
By the
so.
time you get your permits in the spring,
Yeah,
Unless there's a deadline now, I don't know about having to take
I don't think
it
there
and
is.
remove it from that property. It's been there since before I was born. Leave it one more winter.
So your decorations are good this year, I think? but
That's fine, yeah.
when you're done with the holiday season, do you have a place to put them?
Hopefully the basement will be taken care of at the library at that point, and they can go there at that point. I did speak too early when I said that was my last question, I have one more. I was asked at the last planning commission meeting that I was at to go to the meeting on the 16th, I think, and, make an ask for the CIP on behalf of the village core. 19. I agreed to do that because I thought that we were going to have a village core meeting in between, then. We haven't. I am not sure how I should proceed. In the past, the money that we have asked for as part of the CIP, we've used towards grant matches. I think that that's all that we've used it for, is towards grant matches.
There's two, I call it escrow, there's 220 set aside right now in the library fund.
No, for village core I'm talking about.
Oh,
So I also asked Richard Noel that the last time he was in, and he kind of felt that maybe there was no need for it right this year.
not the core.
Right.
The core.
We're not gonna need anything for any grant
I
matches in the
don't-
next year.
I don't see anything, unless Carrie knows of anything, but
I haven't,
As
I'm
far-
not sure I can.
as far as I know and she knows, we're caught up. There's no deadlines that we have to meet at this point. We're caught up on all the information that's in. We're kind of
I think so.
wait and see.
Yeah.
Right, but in the next year, we're not going to apply for anything that we would need a match for and should be planning
I don't
ahead
see
for.
I don't know, I haven't looked a whole year out either, so
The
that's a fair
sidewalk
question.
grant that was applied for is what they had made a motion to use ARPA money for the 20% match. So I'm not sure you do.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't think that there's anything that's outstanding that
No.
we need a match
Right.
for. I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
like, if looking forward, if there may be a grant or two that we apply for, if we should, ask for $10,000 in the CIP in anticipation of a future grant match.
Mhm.
That's my question. So I guess
Is that normally what you ask for, is it
I
$10,000?
think we've done 10 or 20 in
I
the
think
past.
yeah, around 25,000, I believe, for the village core.
So I think it's fair to ask if your committee would support that. I know you didn't meet this month, but.
I guess, what is the
that
select board's
basically
opinion? I just,
Anticipation of something.
I'm a little bit uncomfortable going to that CIP and asking for any number when I know that we haven't discussed that as a board, so I guess I'd like your support.
I mean,
in
my
doing
thought is
that.
10,000 is reasonable, in anticipation of something.
And if there's no grants, it doesn't get used, it gets returned.
Well, it doesn't get returned, but it would just stay in that CIP, and so then the following year,
Either
it would
vote
still
to
be
move
there.
it or,
Right,
or it sits for the village core property, the next project,
right.
the next plan. Grant.
That could be how I feel. How do the others feel?
Thank you.
Mhm. Any other, on the village court? And Richard, on the holiday light parade and park decorations. Do you have comments on that? I know you do at least a parade, right?
You wanna pick a date?
Yes. For the parade,
12/22nd is the normal, but can I just add a comment?
Yep.
The tractor parade is in St. Albans the week before on a Friday. Do you think it would be beneficial to get more participants if maybe they were ready for that one and then maybe jump on board on ours, or do you think it would not make a difference?
I think I think a lot of people decorate for that one, and if we're gonna have one right off, they might jump.
That was just a thought I had.
I think that's a good idea.
So the tractor parade's on the 13th, right, in St. Albans?
I can't believe so.
Friday the 13th at 6 p.m.
So you're talking about maybe the 15th, Sunday the 15th?
That's what I was thinking, because I thought maybe it's the same, a lot of the same people, and maybe it would give us a nicer,
Last year, the truck did come from St. Albans to, I think.
some of them did, yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you choose a Sunday?
I don't know, it just seemed like.
I think because most of
Yeah.
the people that participate didn't work and was able to put something
Yeah.
together.
The first year that we chose it, not 2020, that we did a massive one, but 2021 would have been, I guess. Saturday night was Franklin's, and we were later than them when coming out with it.
Do you know what theirs is this year?
I do not know what yours is.
The only reason that I asked that is having little kids not that long ago is if you're trying to get them to bed on Sunday night for school Monday morning.
Is there school on the 23rd?
I have no idea.
No,
Right before Christmas.
but there would be on the weekend before.
Right,
That's
on
what
the
I'm saying,
15th.
no school on the 23rd, do it the 22nd.
I mean, you don't have to, that was just my question with asking on a
And,
Sunday.
and I know in the past, we wanted to spread it out,
Yeah, that's
because
Yeah.
we had Santa Day, the fire department, we had skate with
Back
Santa over
then, we were
there,
still having-
and we wanted to spread it all out. And,
Over at the library.
Polaris Rest.
Yeah.
and then the lights, decorations, and,
And that's fine too, I don't see anything for Franklin, so I don't know when theirs is.
so, do we still wanna go
I can
the,
ask Jess to reach out.
What's that?
I can have Jess reach out to, ask Jess to
Yeah,
reach
well, I
out
didn't
to-
see anything immediate with posted, but they may be in the same planning stage we are.
Right.
But they always do Saturday.
okay. So do we wanna stay with the 15th, or?
It doesn't matter to me, I just,
Difference to me.
I think your thoughts, if there's one ahead of you, they'll have their tractor
Yeah.
tech, and you have more participation.
Right.
And normally it's public skating gets done at 4:30, 4:15. We normally start the parade at 5 o'clock,
right.
so,
Pretty dark, but
yeah,
Yeah.
so.
I think
I-
Santa Day is the first weekend of December. this
Yeah,
year.
the first, I think, is what I was
Early,
told.
yeah.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah. This is the first day on a Sunday.
So Sunday, December 15th.
So, now the decorations, I know Sue mentioned it earlier in the meeting here, about the blue buses,
Yes.
Oh, right.
and, I think, I heard that was a big hit last year.
Huge hit.
That's what you had 3 trips?
They did 3 or 4 trips probably.
I don't know the answer to that.
And is that the Plouffe?
Several.
Is that the
Yeah.
bus company, the Plouffes?
Blue, I talked to Curtis the other day and he says nobody's come. I said, I will be going to the select board, I will be asking.
I talked to Jess after they were meeting Monday night because I forgot to bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
And, it is on the agenda for their next meeting, which is
Okay,
The 18th.
the 18th, talking about holiday events. So,
okay.
I think if you go with the 15th, it gives her another week to spread it out, those events, and give her some options for,
Because they did like a Thursday, Friday.
Yes, yes.
where she doesn't have to worry about, the parade will have already been
Right.
done. So she don't have to be in 2 places at the same time. Or 3.
So the parade is definitely December 15th.
What's the route gonna be, like last year?
I think about the same as last year. It keeps getting a little better every year, I think.
I didn't hear any complaints about last year's route. I don't know, but,
Consistency is key.
yes.
What did we do last year? through Falls to
Yeah.
Macy, back up Lincoln.
Yes.
Yeah,
The fire department was awesome.
yeah, they did a great
had
job.
every intersection covered for us.
The-
We were worried about going the opposite way.
The only thing that, if we get bad weather, and it's snowing, I don't like Pools Hill. You know, I just think if there was a way to stay off that hill, I just, you know, especially with,
Talk in
Wagon.
today's terms, not everybody knows
Oh.
what Pools Hill is.
I didn't.
Carol Ann's,
that's still too long ago.
Esther's and East Highgate.
yeah, the escorts down where
Oh,
McLaughlin
okay.
lived. And
Yeah.
walkers
Yeah.
and,
Where she used to have her food stand is where you're saying.
yeah, Carol Ann and,
Bushy,
what's that?
bushy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, bushy.
Alright.
Yeah.
Where's the hill exactly?
What's
There's
that?
a hill there?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it snakes and it goes downhill. That's where Dave Roddy got killed.
From Walker Mountain Road.
You would be
to
coming
Memphis
up
is
it,
all-
wouldn't you?
Yes.
And you don't think the tractors could do it if it was?
Well, no,
slippery?
well, I just think,
Put plow in the front.
Nick
Yeah.
will do a good job getting it ready for him.
I know
Yeah.
one of the years, it was getting pretty bad when we were doing Cart Road, that one was really bad.
And
Yeah.
we cut it short
We
before
called
we
it and made a lot of people unhappy.
Getting left in
You
that truck.
guys didn't wanna make that hill at the end of Common Road, you wouldn't have made it.
right,
No.
Jeez.
You were
Yeah.
not.
no.
That year we didn't have.
Well, we got stuck
called
right
it
on the,
short.
I think I was leading and they didn't have no sand in there behind them. And all of a sudden we got stopped right there on the corner by Rolo's there. They go up,
It was bad.
yeah, it was stopped and,
Yeah, we cut it short that year.
yeah,
It was still 3 hours.
Yeah.
yeah. A long one.
We refined from that.
Yeah. I think that is probably our best route. There's no
Right,
double and back.
So you'll come down Lampkin back into the village?
Correct.
Okay.
And we'll go Deckard Street or
yeah,
Decatur
cross
Street.
over back to the
Because there was
school.
confusion there and I didn't know, I was in the cop car and,
Yeah,
I
we
didn't
know.
So yeah, that'll be that and.
We'll have to contact them too,
For,
to see if they'll,
well, it would be the sheriff this year.
yeah, sure, yeah.
Well, people appreciate it.
They've done a great job lately.
Yeah.
Sheriff,
I
they're
agree.
separate, they are all over the place,
All
all the time.
Yep.
All right, so that's the parade, the park decorations. Used to be the fire department, then last year they asked the library to take it over. Is that the library's choice this year as well?
Yeah, we discussed it Monday night, and, last year we had asked other boards if they'd like to show up and have cookies and hot chocolate and put stuff up with us. Nobody took us up on that.
I tried to, I think I got called into work.
Yeah, I think, the Lothians came, which was incredibly helpful. It would not have gone nearly as smoothly as it did without their help. But,
So when are you talking that, Rebecca?
we did not set a date because there was one person on the board that thought Christmas decorations shouldn't go up before the 1st of December.
Don't look in my yard, they're going up today.
But
So,
I think that it'll be probably the weekend after Thanksgiving. So is that the 30th and the
can look.
1st?
yes.
I think that that's the
That
weekend.
would be nice. I'd like to, because we're gonna have Santa Day, I think on the 1st, it's fire department.
Oh, that would be nice, yeah.
So, I'm also gonna ask Nick, can you put the things down the roadway and I don't know if the lights are up. We did have lights up around this building.
Those are
Have we?
discontinued.
Why they're,
They came down in pieces.
oh,
When they
We
did
haven't
the-
had lights on this building in a while.
No, since when they did the roof project, they were all
okay,
wrecked
okay.
and they've been
Carrier.
They're dead.
Better than
Yeah.
this.
Our plan is to put them up that weekend. I do need to take them out of the shed and see if anything needs to be restrung.
Okay.
I would not be opposed to giving you a half day to put up new ones, if that's what you wanted to do.
I would like to see lights around here. You know, I don't know how the board feels.
We would have to get some new lights around. the
I
I,
love lights.
I like to see the place real crisp.
We can put a snow cannon on the roof.
You gotta water that.
Yes, if we wanna get
You
new
got
lights.
that nice lift and everything.
Right, we got a basket for the
Yeah.
back one also. If we wanna put them around again, we just gotta get them.
Rebecca, there is, the light out there works now, I'm sure that you know, so it won't be as
Christmassy.
Christmas.
What are we putting up in the park?
It says Noel, and I think that there's like a star on each end. Like there's,
So it's the same thing that was.
yeah.
Yeah, that they put up during the
It's
COVID.
nice,
Oh.
it's just clear lights, it's an N on a stick.
Didn't it say hope?
Yeah.
Oh,
one-
maybe it says hope.
Yes.
Don't listen
Right?
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
I think the fire.
It does say
Noel
hope.
at one point, yeah, it does say hope. I
Yeah.
think we put, the hope
Couple-
came in
Put a
2020,
couple
I
of trees
think.
up
It
there.
did.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah, with a
And then we had a
on-
tree on each
Tree
end.
on each end.
Might shift it more towards, to get it out of that light maybe.
More centered in the
Yeah, we'll
park.
have to,
Yeah, nobody's in that house now.
Right.
yeah, we can frame that house right behind it, it'll be nice. Yeah, we can look at where we put it, we done, Chelsea Pigeon and her mom had done a really nice job. Last year, they had put greenery in each of those flower boxes, and
I remember that.
that really
Looked
looked
nice,
nice.
It did.
So if you do want lights, you need to make a motion on an amount, correct?
We have a holiday expense line item that, I mean, not to exceed amount might be nice,
Yeah.
so we know how much to buy. But then again, yeah, I don't know how much, I don't know what lights cost
Right,
these
and I
days,
don't
so.
know what we would need for length.
How much is in that line item?
Do you need to set an amount, or can you just give them the permission to purchase
enough
lights
lights
to
to
go
cover it.
around the outside of the building?
Nothing tacky, please.
We have $2,500 in the holiday/celebration expense line item. That being said, I don't know how many snowflakes you wanna buy, and those are expensive.
We just got
So-
through,
Snowflakes are what's on the
we
pole.
got three
Yes.
free ones.
Three free ones, that's right, I forgot about the free ones.
Do you think $500 could get you enough
I
lights
would
for
hope
Yeah.
so.
For the
Hope
building?
so.
I would hope
don't
so.
see why not.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
not to exceed?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're making a motion not to exceed
Exceed
$500 for lights to go around
The
the building.
building, fire
The
department.
building's building.
Fire department, town.
Second.
Second, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any other discussion around the holiday light parade or park decorations? Thank you,
Yeah,
everybody, for stepping up
Just,
to that.
can you get, you know, I'll help you in the park if I know a date.
Plan on that Sunday, if that's December 1st,
It is.
So the 30th? The Saturday?
Sunday.
Cause when is Santa Day?
First.
It's
Seven.
on Sunday.
The
Well,
8th.
When we
The
had
8th.
talked about
What?
it, the
Santa Day's the 8th, right?
No, I thought it was the first.
No, I think it's the
So,
8th.
Let me look, Franklin,
This
or
is
Highgate Fire. I just saw it not so long ago.
She called me the other
that's
night,
what we were going.
wanted to schedule
Did you
things.
post it?
Oh, that's right.
Oh, I
There's a
did
reason
hear
for that, isn't there?
I tried not to
December
share any of that
7th. Oh,
Christmas
Santa
crap,
Day's
so I
on
have to-
Saturday this year.
They're having it on
And
a
it's the
Saturday?
The 7th is ringing a bell for some reason.
Okay, so she changed it again on.
Saturday, December, it's never been on a
So you
Saturday,
would
has
have
it?
that whole weekend before to get it.
It has?
No, it's always been on Sunday because
what I thought.
Santa Claus was coaching.
Santa Claus plays basketball.
He was coaching the elves.
It says Saturday, December 7th.
Okay.
It does.
Okay.
That's the first time I think they've done it on Saturday.
That doesn't change.
Record, he's got hockey.
Maybe she looked at the wrong year calendar? It says Saturday.
It does say Saturday.
We are decorating that Sunday the 1st. I think it'll be 2:30. It is depending when people get off the ice with their kids from hockey. So.
They usually have skate with Santa that last Sunday before Christmas, which would be the 22nd.
Right.
So I think skate with Santa and the parade have often fallen on the same day.
Yes.
Okay. Cause that's a big hit, the Grinch and Santa on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's only in my shoulder this year.
You want me to start with that other one? Franklin Road thing?
Franklin Road, discontinuance. So we've been asked to discontinue a portion or all of the road, when they redid the road, they did, right away. And I do have a map, if you wanna come look at it.
Right by the Duhamel Farm?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
And
About
so
20.
they're requesting to the town discontinue that and put it back in their name, property.
They as in the Duhans?
Yeah.
Or
Correct.
There's two different property owners at the end of that road.
Right, so which one?
Both, if the right of way used to be more.
I do have it here if you wanna look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But they changed the
Yeah.
intersection that.
Did you see it?
there was some
Yeah.
paperwork
So the
done,
yellow
it just wasn't done
is
appropriately all the way.
What they want us
so
to
we do it again.
discontinue.
Correct, they
Okay.
disposed of the diesel impact.
Right.
It used to come
So-
towards Highgate. Now it's
So this here is Belial, right?
So what we have to do as a select board is set a date, and I would suggest, let's get past the holidays and do in January. Set a date tonight to go and look at the road, and then we would make our decision after our site visit.
So one of the questions was, could we do, Vern wanted to know if you could do a Saturday in January, like a Saturday morning or early afternoon, I don't know what your preference is, so that we can do it during the,
They want.
can we have some quiet in the gallery, please?
Stop it.
Just, but not. So he wanted to know if you could do it in Saturday, because it has to be in the daylight, obviously, and it gets dark early, and people work, so, and the public might appreciate it too.
4th of January?
That's the first Saturday.
Yeah.
Would that work?
At this time. It's hard to know.
It is hard to know, but once we, like, we're not gonna do it this week, but once we set the
Yeah.
site visit and the public hearing date, we, the
It has
hearing
to be
date will
warned.
be later, I think.
And that has to be warned at the meeting.
Yeah, it has to be about 45 days in advance is what the attorney said.
Yeah. So I'm okay with going for that date.
January 4th?
Yeah.
What time?
10?
Yeah.
10 a.m.?
Okay. All right, put it in calendars. So we'll do we'll do other things, but, you know, the public will see notices for that. Just know we have a map, here, and we'll make one available. And all we're doing is discontinuing the part of the road that is no longer being used. It's the short version. And that's it for our select board.
So we're under other business. The NDRC grant needs a resolution and a contract amendment for a form approval signature. So I need to make a motion to approve the resolution and authorize Vern to sign all forms to change the name of the authorizing official for the town to Carrie Johnson, town administrator.
Vern or you or anyone, but somebody on the select board needs to sign that if you make that motion and it gets passed.
And this is the project that's already been approved. That's bringing the wastewater to the airport.
Mary, say that again. You're making the motion to do what now?
I make a motion to approve the resolution and authorize Vern to sign all forms, well, it'll be Mary now, correct?
Yes.
To sign all forms to change the name of the authorizing official for the town to Carrie Johnson.
Okay, thank you.
So need a motion from the select board for a resolution.
Make that motion.
I'll
Motion made by
second it.
Ann, seconded by Richard. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, perfect, and there's another one, because there's a number of grants. This one, is for the village wastewater. I think I added it, but I think I gave you the correct one, but there should be a motion to appoint, the town administrator as the authorized representative for the CWSRF, which is the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. And they also need
A resolution.
no, just this form signed that you have in front of you there.
Oh, yes.
That changes the authorizing official.
So do you have a motion to accept
I'll make
that?
that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
There'll probably be more, but that's the first two. that have
Okay.
come up. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion before the board? If not, a motion to end the regular meeting and go into executive session?
I have one, be asked to be into executive for,
Okay,
contractual.
okay. So we'll go into executive with Carrie and Pat. Thank you, everybody.
I'll
Appreciate
make
all your
that
work.
motion to, it come out of regular.
Okay, motion made by Richard, seconded. No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.